Like, this is my view, guys, and it is beautiful. Look at that sunset. Oh my gosh, it is beautiful. That is Fort Charlotte for you, and it wouldn't be Fort Charlotte without any lovers. Nope, would not be. Promise, I live here, I know. It is beautiful. It's a beautiful day to be alive. Hey, welcome back, Speak Your Truth, fam. This is your girl Yana Positive with another episode of Speak Your Truth, the Untold. Here at Speak Your Truth, we seek to create an iris space, inspirational, relatable, empowering, and elevating. So if you're new to the program, remember to like, share, and subscribe. Click the notification bell so you can be notified when we upload all our videos. Isn't that exciting? Because today I'm so excited. I'm here at one of my favorite places in Hanover, Fort Charlotte. It was actually named after one of King James' girlfriend. So, ladies, you see, if you have a man and him not name you after one place, left him. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. We can't all be kings, right? We can't all be kings and queens. Maybe in our own mind. But, yep. So I'm here. It's beautiful outside. It's beautiful outside. I am totally and completely enjoying this view, and I know you are too. Yep, look at that sunset. Oh my gosh, look at my hair. It's horrible. But look at the sunset. It's beautiful. It's beautiful out. It's a beautiful day to be alive. And today we're going to be talking about the gift of anger, and it's really potent topic for here because this is actually a former barracks. This was where soldiers could see, because Hanover has a particular harbor. I'm not sure if you're seeing it, but see right there where it would be hard because of the 2 points in the harbor. That's Grand Palladium. And this is the other end of the harbor, and this is where ships would come in at sea. So if they're here and they're shooting from these cannons, one of which I'm sitting on, then the ships would be decimated. There's no other way of coming into Hanover Harbor or Lucy Harbor, and so it was considered one of the safest on the islands, especially when there was like hurricane and any natural disasters. The ships from Kingston and Montego Bay would divert to Lucy Harbor. That's just a little back history lesson. But it's a very particular place to be talking about anger because so much warfare and death must have happened right here on these barracks. And I'm gonna just now be teaching you how to use that anger for good. Well, I'm not sure if what they thought was good because it was war, and war can be so complicated depending on the side you're on. But there must have been so much anger that surrounded this place. And so I find it very interesting to be talking about this topic here, right now. Interesting, no? This is one of my favorite places to be. Do you see this beauty? I wish you could actually see how it is outside of this camera, outside of this screen. But it is amazing here. I'm telling you, hands down, amazing. So Hanover has some really nice places. You guys should check it out when you have the time. But I'm going to be doing something a little bit different today. I'm going to be looking at the gift of anger, and that is actually the title of this book. It's by Arun Gandhi, who is actually the grandson of Mahatma Gandhi, and he gives us 10 spiritual lessons from his grandfather. I find this book very interesting, hands down one of the best reads I've had in a really long time, and it's given me a lot of insight on some things. Recently I've been having an experience at an agency for my practicum. Yay! And what it showed me was that a lot of us allow the anger that we have within us to exacerbate and hurt those we actually hold most dear to our hearts. And sometimes that anger can ruin us in ways that we do not foresee, and it can allow us to become a person that we do not recognize and the world sees as something different than we actually are. And so I've taken the time to come to this place where I find soothing and calming and relaxing. I'm just gonna give you some gems from this book, The Gift of Anger. Alright? It's a really good read. If you guys can get it, please do. Especially if you're somebody who struggles with anger. The first quote, it says, and I think this sums up the entirety of this book: use your anger for good. Anger to people is like gas to the automobile. It fuels you to move forward and to get to a better place. Without it, we would not be motivated to rise to a challenge. It is an energy that compels us to define what is just and what is unjust. And I found this really entertaining, really interesting, because so many times we hear about anger as something bad, something that needs to be expelled from us entirely. And I've been in the situation where it's like, oh God, please take this anger from me. But when I read this book, I realized what I should be looking at is how it is that I should use this anger to fuel into something good. And it's so much easier to kind of redirect and channel your energy and have that transmission to go from, oh no, I have really angry outbursts where I hurt people a lot, or internalize anger and I hurt myself a lot, to go to a place where we use this anger to alleviate some of the injustice in this world. And I realized that it's this anger that some of our greatest leaders have that push them towards change and push them to make a difference. Because really, it's when you get angry, realize something: when you get angry, that emotion that you're feeling, it really is when somebody does something unjust to you, and or you feel that somebody did something unjust to you, and now you want to take recompense, and that anger drives you to bad, but it can also drive you to good. So it's about redirecting that energy and not allowing it to hurt or harm anybody, including yourself or anybody that you may direct that anger towards. So use your anger for good. It's to motivate you to rise to that challenge. If it is that you get angry, and I see so many persons in this world, they get angry over so many things, and they never use that anger to do anything good. They allow it to consume them. I'm saying they, but I really mean we. They allow that anger, we allow that anger to consume us, and then in the event that something happens that should propel us to change, oh, I'm angry about the grade I got from a teacher, but no way am I gonna do anything about it. A no uttered from the deepest conviction is better than a yes uttered to please, or worse, to avoid trouble. So I've seen so many people do this so many times, where they don't say no because they think it's gonna step on somebody's toe. But actually, in saying yes or not saying anything at all, what happens is that the problem is not resolved. We cry about it, we complain about it, and we try to avoid trouble. Oh, I don't want this person to be angry at me. Oh, I don't want them to see me in this light. Oh, I don't want to cause any trouble. And then what actually happens is that we have a world of a lot of sayers and no doers. So let anger motivate you towards something good. It's always been a mystery to me how men can feel themselves honored by the humiliation of their fellow beings. As I was saying earlier, sometimes persons get angry and they use it to humiliate or embarrass persons. And really and truly, what this message is saying is that we must have the humility and the control to swallow that anger that we are feeling, or when it is that we are feeling prideful, to swallow that pride and allow humility to come through and really be able to motivate us towards doing better or making a change. Another quote I really like is, your mind should be like a room with many open windows. Let the breeze flow in from all, but refuse to be blown away from anyone. And what this is saying to me is that a lot of times when persons argue, listen, me not argue with persons about religion, politics, and there was a third one. I cannot. What I do is I have intellectual discussions. If I feel like you're arguing to prove that my side is wrong and you're right and your side is wrong, I will not be engaging in any discussion with you. Because what I want is for persons to have an open mind. And this is what it's saying. Let your mind be like an open window. So you may have persons with varied beliefs. You may have persons who believe PNP or JLP. You may have persons who believe Sunday worship or Saturday worship. But at the end of the day, it cannot motivate you to be so angry that you would hurt another person because of their beliefs. Or it is that you would allow that person to suck from you anything of logical intellect. And I'm not saying that if you have foolishness or somebody correct you, you must listen. But be it so that you're open and it doesn't motivate you to anger so much so that you would hurt another person. Be open to the fact that everybody has their own beliefs and you choose your own value system. Passive violence is the fuel that ignites physical violence in the world. If we want to put out the fire of physical violence, we have to cut the fuel supply. So this is what I was saying earlier. A lot of persons, we internalize the anger that we're feeling. So we're upset about something that my mother or my wife said this morning or my husband said this morning. And I come out of the house and somebody says something to me, slight, and it may not be that they say something that's really upsetting, but you fist them down. Why? Because you were already upset and you didn't do anything about it. What I'm saying is that channel that anger into good. Take a walk, don't interact with anybody, come back and deal with the situation as is. And if you can't deal with the situation right away, find a way to resolve it, or to actually channel it into something better and channel it into something good. Go exercise, man. Do something. But don't do something that hurts anyone, because a lot of violence in the world and are really between the two people, let me know. Something that's aggravated the person before and a lot of times. Alright? Now, I want you to realize that sometimes we get angry because persons don't recognize our worth. But here's a story. It's about a king who sent his son into the world to get an education. And the son came back because came back and he was sure he was wiser and he knew everything more than anyone. And the king, he wasn't so sure. So he said, have you learned how to know that which is unknown and how to fathom the unfathomable? No, that's not possible, replied the son. The king asked him to go to the kitchen and get a fig. He brought it back and the king had him cut it in half. They looked at the many tiny fig seeds. Cut one of the seeds in half and tell me what you find. The boy tried to cut it, but it was so small that it slipped away. There's nothing here, he said. The king nodded. From what you consider nothing, a huge tree emerges. That nothing is the seed of life. When you learn what such nothingness is, your education will be complete. Sometimes we see people, we see things, we see situations, and we term them as nothing. Oh, that's nothing. I don't need to do this. I don't need to do that. But in actuality, that nothing can become something that's beautiful or something that's ugly, can become something big. And because we ignore that little nothing, it could turn into something beautiful or it could turn into something big. Choose something beautiful. And I know that sounds like a commercial, but it's not. Choose something beautiful. Turn your anger, fuel it into something beautiful. Some action, some social justice. Right? And promise you, your work will be rewarded once it is that you go about it the right and proper way and through the right and proper channels. I want to show you this quote. As I was saying before, that sometimes persons see nothing, or they see a person and they term them as nothing, and they become something either big and ugly or something big and beautiful. Sometimes you may feel ignored by persons in life and you may be tempted to get angry about it. Why do they ignore me? Why don't they listen? Why? But remember, first they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they fight you, and then you win. You just have to stay focused on you and what your mission is in life. And remember that the joy lies in the fight, in the attempt, in the suffering involved, and not in the victory in itself. I remember telling somebody the other day that it's more impressive when a person doesn't have anything and becomes something, or they struggle and becomes great afterwards, than it was if they were born with, or let's say they had little struggle and then they became successful after that. But when you're in that struggle, it doesn't feel like, oh wow, this is so joyous, I'm struggling, this is hard but I'm happy. It doesn't feel like that. But when you get there, you realize that the joy was the fact that you struggled but you made it here. Whether somebody helped you or not, you struggle but you make it, and you are there. So be patient with your process. I won't say don't get angry, but use that anger, that fuel, that energy, use it for something good, something uplifting, and something that will move persons. All right? All right. It is beautiful. It's a beautiful day to be alive.